Welcome to the Living Superhuman Fitness Podcast, where we take you inside our gym, CrossFit Palm Beach, each week. It's here that we are creating new superhumans every day, transforming people's lives, helping them reach a level of health they never knew possible. We strive to answer your most burning questions on fitness, health, nutrition, training, motivation, mindset, lifestyle, and more. If you have a question, please email us at info@crossfitpalmbeach.com. You can also learn more on our blog, livingsuperhuman.com. And if you have a moment, we'd love a review from you on iTunes. All right, it's time. Let's stop being average and start living superhuman. Welcome to the Living Superhuman Fitness Podcast. My name is Andrew Frezza, and I'm joined today by
Tony Frezza.
Zach Eggen.
And Zach's our special guest today because it is a Meet the Coaches episode, and we're going to be finding out more about Zach today and what drives him, coaching, fitness, family, all that good stuff. So why don't you just kind of kick things off, Zach, and just give us like a quick little background on you, like where were you born and raised, how old are you? Are you married? Do you have kids? Stuff like that.
The hard question.
I was born and raised. I was born in Lakeland, Florida, and I was adopted when I was 2 weeks old. And I grew up in Lake Worth with my parents, my adopted parents, and grew up there. Grew up in that area until I graduated high school, and then.
Where'd you go to high school?
Cardinal Newman High School. Let's see. Yeah, like everything you probably would expect. I played like every sport I could possibly play. My favorite thing in school was recess, and I was just an active kid. I was bouncing off the walls, super ton of energy.
Did you play sports in high school?
Yeah, I played football. I played a little bit of basketball, but I ended up focusing more on football. I did shot put and discus.
Oh, wow.
I was also in the concert band, so I played trumpet and a little bit of tuba, because I've always really liked music. I did a little bit of everything. Anything you could think of, I would always try to like dabble in it. I was really somebody that liked to do different stuff. And
cool.
That's pretty much my high school years.
What did fitness look like post high school for you up until finding CrossFit?
Once I left high school, I was really just like in the gym working out to look good for Friday, Saturday night.
You do a decent job of that.
I did a lot of like bench and biceps.
How has that changed?
A lot of bench still. Luckily in CrossFit, there's a lot of biceps and everything. We don't actually do curls and stuff, but yeah, like CrossFit was just something that I found after college. I didn't do anything like that in college. I didn't play any sports in college. I tried to play golf. I got into golf again because it was something I did in high school, middle school and high school. And then I tried to do that again in college. I actually tried to walk on a team, didn't make it, and then played recreationally. And then as I got into college, I thought that was kind of the career choice I wanted to go through. So I actually transferred to a golf program in Orlando, and that's where I got a degree in golf management. And that's really what I thought I wanted to do. And I wanted to teach golf. That's what I wanted to do was, the business side of it was something that I was learning to do, but I was really passionate about teaching it and playing it, which makes a lot of sense why this is what I do now, because it transfers over so well to this.
When did you know you wanted to be a coach in that sense? I guess that's the first time you thought about being a coach, or was it before that?
I think I thought about being a coach really in high school when I was playing football. I always thought to myself, like, man, I would love to do what they're doing and coach the athletes. I remember thinking, like, I could do this better. I feel like I could do a better job at this. I think we could do some different things that would be more fun, and would just keep the guys engaged and maybe keep us a little healthier. That was always a thought that I had, even though maybe I didn't know exactly how to do it. I always thought that was something that was an option. And so as I got into teaching golf and learning more about golf, the passion of instructing, the passion of finding the right words to say and finding the right cues to make to get somebody to move better, I found was a passion of mine, and also getting people to understand the concept. I just enjoy doing it, and I found that I had a skill for doing that. And I've always been like that. I have that gift, that skill of like exhorting and talking and encouraging. And so it's played really nicely into to what I do now. And that's really something I realized that I was good at doing that and that I like to do it. When I was in that program, we had to do a lot of like final projects where you would teach, most of the people in your graduating class, you'd have them and they'd all be at like the driving range. You'd be teaching how to do a certain movement or how to do a particular cue to, for anything, like teaching swing path or teaching plane or teaching face angle, and just demoing that and teaching that at the same time. And I excelled at doing that. And I knew, that was then when I knew like, okay, this is something that I really want to do. I didn't know that it would actually take me into a career in CrossFit and teaching Olympic movements and barbell movements, because I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know what CrossFit was. I actually didn't even know what CrossFit was until 2012, which is when you guys opened this gym. So, but it just, the Lord took me into something different, and luckily I was prepared to.
And they said you're too strong for golf.
Yeah, at the time I was not that strong. So, in that time I knew I was really into running and doing aerobic stuff. I actually started training for some half marathons, and that's really how I got into training as much as I do now. Enjoying the process of training. I really liked the build. I loved the idea of like, okay, I'm going to hit this today, and I'm going to build a little bit tomorrow, and I'm going to build a little bit the next day, and this is going to be this little project that I have on top of my career. I never thought that it would amount to something like this, but if I'm being honest too, my lifetime dream was to be a professional athlete. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted my job to be playing sports. And so, just as this opportunity has given itself to me through CrossFit, and I realized, hey, I'm pretty good at this, and I can continue to do this. That dream started to like catch flame a little bit more, and then it's progressed into where it is today.
Cool. So tell us about like where the transition from golf to fitness happened. Like, when did you find CrossFit? How did you know? Like when did it click for you?
So I was doing a lot of that running and just like aerobic work, and I actually was working in Ohio at a golf course. I ended up moving home and actually leaving that job and moving home. And when I came back, I had that decision to make on whether or not I wanted to pursue golf in this area, which would have been very easy to do. But I took a step back and actually just got a job waiting tables and working in a restaurant when I moved home. And I was introduced to a boot camp. And I went to one, it was like 6 a.m. And I'm like, I remember the person telling me about it, and I went with them, and I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this. Like, this sounds really silly and kind of dumb and kiddie, I guess. And the first day, it was like that athletic, competitive, because you got everyone around you, and it was like running and squats and burpees, and there was the music, like they pulled their car up, and it was an outdoor boot camp, like a pop-up boot camp. The juices were flowing, and I was like, wow, that was really awesome. You want to come back tomorrow morning? Yeah, let's do it. So came back the next day, ended up doing every day, 6 a.m. Monday through Friday for a couple weeks, and I got myself in pretty good shape really fast. And so it wasn't CrossFit, but it had the essence of CrossFit, like variability there, different functional movements, constantly moving the whole time. And I got in shape, and the guy who ran it asked me if I wanted to be a coach, and I never thought about it. But I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do. He's like, well, let's go online, get you a certification online, and you can start coaching soon. And that was literally how it happened, just like that. And from there, I was teaching boot camps, and That was
like 2012?
That was 2012. Yes, the beginning of 2012. And maybe like the end of 2011. Anyway, like right around that time. And yeah, I fell in love with it. I was like, I really love doing this. I love bringing more energy than everybody else, and them like enjoying this hour of their time because of what I can bring to this hour, like what I can provide for them that's beyond what they could have done on their own. And I remember just being really excited about it and really enthusiastic about that process and becoming better at that. And it just one day at a time got better and became more of a serious thing.
Do you feel like that's where your passion for BeachFit came from? Is that's how you fell in love with kind of this aspect of fitness, or is there other things too? The reason it's just crazy to see someone who's so competitive yourself, CrossFit Games athlete, that still like loves the BeachFit side when working with beginners and working with people who don't even know what the CrossFit Games is and have no aspirations of going there.
I think there's probably multiple reasons why, and I think that's definitely one of them. I have a lot of experience in that environment, and because of where I was when I started, the owner who owned that outdoor boot camp decided, because it blew up, and I think it had a lot to do with me and him and another coach that was there. We were working together, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger really quickly. And so we moved into an actual facility and made it a boot camp facility. And in that, promoting it and getting people in, I got access to coaching a lot of people that needed help, like off the couch help, losing a lot of weight, getting going. And I realized that I had a skill for that, and that I had a lot of experience in that. And since that's been my experience all the way through, I think it just helps me do it really well. I also think, you guys know that I'm a Christian. It's my faith, and my faith drives me to show the character of God in everything that I do. And that love that I have for everybody that I see, that really drives me to want to help people who may think that this is not something that they could ever do, because I know how much they need it, and I know how much their life can be changed by it. And not that I don't like better athletes. In fact, I love working with top level athletes and more of your competitive athletes. I like coaching them as well, but I just have a passion for taking that love that's inside me for every single person that I have, and what I think the Lord is just really bringing out of me, and using that to fuel what I do every day in BeachFit. And BeachFit allows me to, whether you believe in what I believe or not, I think you want to be a part of that program that comes from that place and that posture of my heart, because it's always going to have you in mind, and it's always going to have people's development in mind, because it's coming from a place of love. And that's really what I like to do. That ultimately is the biggest passion that I have, and the most important thing that I do.
That's something I've always admired about you. It's pretty amazing, because you see coaches kind of get pulled towards, just like in life, we get pulled towards the people that are like us. Mm-hmm. If you're a competitive athlete, you go towards the competitive athletes and tend to like working with them more.
Yeah.
And you've shown me that you can go 110% coaching with someone who's 70 or someone who's going to the games, and it's
mm-hmm.
It's really awesome to see. Where did your faith get so strong in your life?
I grew up going to church. My mom and dad are Christians, and they have always instilled that value in me from a young age. As I left high school and went into my college years, that was not a priority in my life. And then I had some things, some tougher times in my life, some struggles, some things that brought me to my knees, if I want to put it that way. And I learned that I just didn't have the strength or the willpower to overcome some of those things. And that's where I was introduced to Jesus. And I learned to surrender some of those things to him. And in that time, he has broken a lot of chains off of me, and he's taken a lot of things out of my life that I don't struggle with anymore, because I've been redeemed and I have a new life in him. So it's that favor that I've found, and that thankfulness and gratitude for that makes me want to explore him more and learn more about it, and I devote more and more and more of my life to it. And in doing that, my heart and mind have been renewed, And so, when I meet somebody who comes up who's 70 or somebody who's 17 or somebody who's overweight or somebody who's an elite athlete, to me, they're all made in the image of God, and I want to do whatever I can to take care of them. And it might sound simple, but like does
that inspire you as like an athlete competing too? I know, like, I read Rich Froning's book, and he talked about kind of like after just winning like the first one, just wanting to walk away, and just being like, you know what, I have a message to give, and this is my platform to give it.
Yeah.
And he, continued in CrossFit, and obviously is like one of the greatest.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've tried to make more prominent and more known in like my athletic career, as I've like post things on Instagram, post things on Facebook, put things on social media. That's definitely something that I want to get across, is that my strength is not what I find in my own, but my strength is found in Christ. And that, and if that's something that people see in me, I would rather that be seen than the workouts that I do or the lifts that I make, although that is what draws people in to look at what I'm saying, or look at what I'm doing. But in that, I can tie those two things together and show that strength that I see there, for sure. And I think also in that same topic, I think for me, like in this past season, that's something that I've really learned, is that, those goals are really awesome to achieve and they feel great, but that's the number one thing that I journaled about it, because I just read this in my journal from right after regionals. Because I finally made that goal and hit that goal, but it all kind of pales in comparison to the relationship that I have with my Creator. And that is far more satisfying and fills that hole inside of me far more than any CrossFit Games or regionals or anything like that.
Let's talk about that, because that was a pretty cool ride for you.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
A dream realized.
I love talking about it.
Zach was on Team Hustle Hard this past CrossFit Games season, and you guys just barely made it through regionals, which was an awesome moment to see you guys celebrate that win and make your way to the games and just do awesome at the games. We're so happy to see you realize that dream and get there.
Yeah, like I said, like it was my dream since I was a little kid. You can ask my mom, like it was almost a problem. I didn't focus on things maybe I should have focused on when I was a young kid in school and whatnot, because I just love sports. I just wanted to be. I remember in 3rd grade I got in trouble because I kept talking in class and I just wasn't doing my work, but I was talking about the Super Bowl from the night before. And I remember my teacher saying, if you ever want to be in the Super Bowl, you're going to have to do your work. And I still remember that from 3rd grade. And she was right. She's absolutely right. But, I just wanted to be a pro athlete. I wanted to be that. And it wasn't just football, it was basketball. Like I loved Michael Jordan. I remember I loved Kevin Garnett. I liked baseball. I loved following the Twins. Kirby Puckett was like my favorite player because I'm a big Minnesota fan. And as you can see with Kevin Garnett. So it was, I just loved sports and I wanted to be an athlete. So to go to the CrossFit Games and to be on that field and be in the arena in that night, like that was a dream come true. That was an absolute dream come true, to be able to do that and to feel that. Like that's why I wear these shorts every day. Like it means so much to me to have accomplished that, and to be able to have done that. Regionals was that was the biggest battle I've ever been in any athletic event thing ever. CrossFit Games, it was an awesome experience and it was really fun and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but that regionals, just the way it was so competitive, and our region is very competitive, just the way we had to fight and the things that came down to, like if Danielle didn't cross that line, if she crossed 2 seconds later, like we wouldn't have gone. And in fact, crazy story with that event is that we actually were ranked behind. They did something with the scoring in that, and we were ranked about, I think, 1 or 2 spots behind where we should have been. And so we had left the convention center, we had gone home, my teammates were already home, we were like eating lunch at the house, getting ready for the next day. And Pierre, who's the captain of the team, we had to go and file an act because we went and looked at the broadcast and we're like, wait, we're in front of that team, but he had to drive back to the convention center. Luckily we live here and it was not that big of a deal, but and he had to go put in an official dispute. We had to dispute our position for that one. It was honored. Excuse me. Thankfully, later on in that night, they honored that and moved us back up in that one event. It actually didn't even change our overall positioning for the day. But in the whole tournament, if we had not had that switch, we wouldn't have gone. Like, it was so competitive, and just every single thing was full throttle all the way through every workout. There was no, if you slowed down even for 2 seconds, that was it. You weren't going. And so just to be able to know how hard we had to fight, like, so you've probably you see the video of that. Like, we just embraced, and it was just a moment. That was one of the highlights of my entire career, was that moment at the end.
Yeah, those lunges at the end, it was like, you guys were ahead, and there was teams going faster, but then there was teams getting no reps, so it was like, it was intense.
Yeah, that was cool. A great lesson to learn there, was because we wanted to speed up, and we said, no matter what, we're not going faster than the pace we said, because we're not having a no rep.
Yeah,
and
kills you.
And we just kept moving, and I know everyone was like biting their nails out in the stands because we weren't moving quite as fast, but we were like, just trust it, just stick with it, and it all worked out.
Awesome. Nice. So let's talk about your wife, Bonnie, because she's kind of interwoven into all these things, fitness and faith. And
oh my gosh.
When did you meet Bonnie, and how has she been kind of involved with everything along the way?
Okay, so this is a cool story. So we met at the boot camp that I was coaching. While it was still an outdoor boot camp, a friend of hers bought her. We did a Groupon for it, and a friend of hers bought the Groupon and said, "Hey, come try this thing." And I was coaching that day, and I remember she ended up like getting hurt that day. Something happened, like I think she pulled something, and so I had to stop and make sure she was okay. Completely professional. Like, at this point, it was not. I didn't even realize at the moment. I was like, oh, she's a pretty girl, but like I didn't think about what were the implications of us meeting in this way. And I then actually sent her a text message later on. I got her number, and that's how I got her number. But I texted her, and I said, hey, I just want to make sure you're okay. And she was like, yeah, I'm fine. Thank you so much for reaching out. And it wasn't until like maybe 4 months later where we actually like went out on a date, and it was it just worked out. But that's how we met, was at that boot camp. And then she, as we moved into the facility that I talked of, and she went in there with us. She was always so much more competitive than all the other females in the gym, and I recognized that.
No, that doesn't sound like Bonnie.
Yeah, I know. Well, it does. I mean, I guess you know her. Like, she's just she's on fire when she works out, and yeah. So she was like, I need a little bit more than this, and she actually went to a local CrossFit gym and left there while we were dating. And then at that time, she had met and made relationships with people. It was called Cat 5 at the time. And that was just a way for me to get in the door. And I didn't actually start right away coaching there, but I started to meet some of the people. You know, we got to the movies or get dinner. I went over there, did a couple workouts. I met the owner, Josh, who we became friends, and we worked out together. We actually started doing a couple tournaments together. And it just kind of like very naturally and organically led into me moving over there and becoming a coach. And I had my level 1 at the time, but I was still at that boot camp gym, and I became a coach there. And then, you know, the rest is history. I ended up going from there to here, and that's how I became, like, really got into coaching in CrossFit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Are you guys still competitive with each other, you and Bonnie?
Well, we yes, but more so, you know, with having Sugar Watt and the whiteboard. I mean, she's competitive with just everyone, and she's actually way more competitive than I am. I think that most people that know us well, know that she's just more competitive than I am. I am, when it gets into the crunch time, like, I am pretty competitive, but she always will take me in being more competitive. That's just how she is. She's an athlete. She's always been an athlete. Like, you know, anything that involves like codes and stuff for us, like numbers and passwords, it always involves my number and her number in sports. Like, that's just how we are, and we have that connection.
What did she play?
She was a soccer player.
Okay,
she played soccer and competitive in swimming in high school. And I think she was pretty good in that as well. But soccer is really what she'll say is her sport. But we have to tone it back a little bit right now because she is pregnant, and we are thankfully so happy that we are expecting a child in August, and it is February 1st right now, so we got a little bit of time, but August 22nd is the due date, and that will be our first child that we've prayed for a long time. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Congrats.
Thank you.
Do you need any tips from us for that? Like, anything that you're excited for on the dad side of things, being a parent?
Man, I just, because it's been, we have been trying for a couple of years now. I don't want to say we've been trying forever. People have been trying for longer than we have, and we want to be really sensitive to that. But because we've seen a lot of you guys have had sons and daughters, and you've had 2 already, and we've watched that. And we've watched you guys cultivate your families and other families within this gym. Like our community, we have a lot of kids that are running around all the time, like strong moms at 9, like that's our thing. We've just had a lot to watch and just fall in love with and see how you guys have grown and see how the joy, like that just joy, not happiness, like happiness doesn't fit it, like the joy. And I want to feel what that feels like. And I understand that I don't understand that yet. And I just can't wait to just to be in that position and to teach them about all the things I'm passionate about and bring them into my CrossFit life and my life with my walk with the Lord, and and those things are priorities to me, and so I can't wait to just share that with a little version of me. I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
We're
we
excited
can't wait for you too. Having another good human being on this earth. Do you have the rogue rack set up for them? I mean, boy or girl, they're going to be a CrossFitter.
I've been searching for it. There's a couple options out there. But yeah, we'll probably start with like the little, the multicolored play ones just to make sure their technique is sound. Yeah. And then from there,
hinging, squatting, pressing.
Yeah, hinging, squatting, pressing. Yeah. Good pull from the floor. Position 1 needs to look right and tight, and then we'll step it up from there.
That's awesome. Is there, we've hit on a lot. Is there any other passions that you have that you can think of that we haven't touched on, or is that pretty much?
Man, I mean, yeah, like for me, it's family, faith, and fitness, and that is, and those are the pillars in my life. Probably in a different order than that. Maybe faith, family, fitness. That's probably the right order to say it. But yeah, that's touched on all of it.
Cool. Well, I got some quick rapid fire questions for you, just to wrap things up.
I'm not good on these. Okay.
Hopefully it's not too hard for you. So what's your favorite thing to eat or drink post workout?
I like to have Ascent vanilla, 1 scoop of Ascent vanilla with 2 scoops of my Carbolin carbs, and I mix them together. It's lemon, lime, and vanilla, and it makes kind of like a creamsicle. It's amazing.
Nice. What's the liquid you use?
Water.
Nice. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Favorite movie?
Or both. You can give us one of each if you have a movie and a TV show.
You know what? TV show, I like all of the Marvel Netflix shows. I love them. I'm like a big superhero comics thing. Like I'm totally into, I'm more of like a Marvel fan, but I like them both. I get it. And it's just something I really like. Movie, my favorite movie is The Legend of Bagger Vance. It's a golfing movie that's set back in like the 20s, I believe. Yeah, somewhere in there. And it's Will Smith's in it. It's just a really, really good movie. If you've never seen it.
It's good.
Yeah, Matt Damon plays the lead character in that. It's really good.
For people that don't see Zach in person or haven't seen him before, he looks more like Thor than Thor does, probably, because they have movie makeup and stuff, and you just look the part.
Yeah, I wish they would cast me for that. But
that was actually my next question, which was, do you have any nicknames? Which we know Thor is the nickname. Do you have any other nicknames?
No, I don't have any other nicknames. It's Zach or Thor. Yeah, but Thor has become very highly used.
Ever since you got the cup. What's your favorite CrossFit exercise for yourself? When you see a workout, what's the thing you look forward to most? Or BeachFit exercise could be something that you show up in BeachFit.
Wall balls.
What's your favorite one to program for BeachFit?
My favorite one to program for BeachFit.
Or coach, if you want to think about it like that.
Man, that's tough. I like to plan I like to give aerobic movements. I like to give rowing and running and biking, and I really enjoy teaching people how to do that, because I think that there's just a lot of magic there if you can learn how to breathe and flow and do that correctly and understand what you're looking at when you're looking at the monitors, I think that there's so much to be gained there from a health standpoint. I love like muscle ups and I love thrusters. Like I love those movements. I like to coach those movements. And I enjoy coaching the squat now because I feel like I have a lot better understanding of it after coaching for 6-7 years. I like to perfect the squat. I think if you're a really good coach, you should want to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy teaching people how to do the metabolic, like the cardiorespiratory movements.
Kind of how to pace it and make it their own.
I like to teach that stuff. Cool. Energy systems, like that's my thing.
Do you have a favorite CrossFit workout or something that shows up as like your wheelhouse workout?
Jackie.
Nice.
Jackie.
And then on the flip side, similar question, do you have a favorite BeachFit workout that you've programmed over the years, or at least one that stands out that you really love?
Oh my gosh, there's so many workouts.
So many good ones.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. I think, man, this is one that it's going to be hard for me to answer. There's one called A WOD to Remember, and I've programmed it probably.
Names
Yeah, the names
It's a sentimental one.
It's a sentimental one, yeah. Just little. But yeah, I like that workout because I think that it's just a great representation of what we're trying to do there. It's not too short. It's not super long. It involves box jumps and push presses, and I think there's box jumps, push presses, some jump ropes in there. There's just a lot of there's some deadlifting in there. There's a kettlebell deadlift, I think. So there's a lot of good movements that if you are coming to the class consistently all the time, you should be able to do that workout in a specific time. I can't think of what the time exactly is right now. I have it written down, but it's just one that the movements it's just good. It just works really well, and it's an awesome tester for people to figure out if they're where they need to be. And so I love giving that workout. It's coming up very soon, actually, for these
Nice.
guys. So.
Awesome. I wanted to ask you, because it's kind of like the beginning of the year, what are your goals for this year? And what are you trying to work on, get better at? Any weaknesses that you're like really, it could be inside, outside the gym too.
Yeah, my goals are actually, they're more outside of fitness than they ever have been. My goals this year is to become more organized and just to be better at, just to become a little bit better at combining everything that I'm doing, because I do so many different things. I work at the church, I work here, I have a baby on the way. I want to be a better husband this year. I want to be better at communicating with her. There's a lot of things that I want to do, and in doing that I have to set some really strict things in my life. And so like one thing is using Google Calendar better, like, and just getting better at doing that. Something I'm trying to do better. Keep a calendar, keep a journal. And those things, it might seem like they're not hard for some people, or maybe they've been doing it forever, but like from a guy who just, like I told you, like school and organization, all those things were never things I took seriously. And as I'm in my 30s now, it's things that like I realize that I need to now bring those up if I want to do what I want to do better. I've just been reading Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits, I think it's brilliant, and I really like even the first 60 pages. I've taken a lot out of the first 60 pages and been able to implement some of that stuff. So I'm trying to do that. I am, starting to focus more on what's my life going to look like after I'm done competing, and so I want to start to line up my life with those priorities and just become more intentional and more focused on some of my things with my family and my career this year.
That's awesome. Yeah, lesson one of being a dad, if you think you have no time now, you definitely don't have any time once kids come along.
And thankfully I have you and I have everyone else that's been telling me the very similar thing, and so and that makes total sense, and that's why I realize now, like as I'm preparing for this next season of my life, that I'm going to have to be just way more on top of things and way more organized if I want to blossom in these different areas.
That's awesome.
Cool. I think that's it, Zach. Yeah, man. Appreciate the time. I don't think anybody cares as much as you do, and we appreciate having you on the team. So,
thank you. We love you, buddy.
Love you guys too.